The coastal town of Crestwood Bay, nestled between rugged cliffs and the ever-expansive Pacific Ocean, exuded a timeless charm. Its history echoed in the creaking beams of Captain Ezekiel Pierce's lighthouse, a sentinel overlooking the azure expanse. With her fiery red hair and a spirit as untamed as the waves she rode, Serena Lawson had become synonymous with the town's aspirations. The year was 2010, and the anticipation for the upcoming windsurfing championship hung thick in the salty air. Fueled by an unyielding passion for her craft, Serena embarked on a rigorous practice regimen that brought her into harmony with the rhythmic symphony of the ocean. The sun lay low on the horizon, casting a warm glow over the waters as she glided with the grace of a seabird. Crestwood Bay, once a thriving fishing village, now held the quiet echoes of maritime tales and the secrets of long-lost shipwrecks, a testament to the rich history that Serena navigated with each windsurfing adventure. The winds whispered long stories as Serena, oblivious to the looming twist of fate, carved through the water. Meanwhile, Captain Ezekiel Pierce, the town's elder, observed her from the time-worn lighthouse. During one of these serene practices, nature seemed to rebel against the status quo. A colossal wave, ominous and unannounced, rose from the depths, crashing with relentless force against Serena's board. The impact sent her sprawling into the churning sea, a sudden plunge into the heart of an unpredictable arena. Disoriented and breathless, Serena surfaced to a surreal isolation. The vastness of the ocean stretched in every direction, and the adrenaline-fueled excitement of the competition faded into the haunting solitude of the open sea. Little did she know that this unplanned encounter would unveil a giant shark known as Leviathan. Beneath the surface, shadows stirred. Unbeknownst to Serena, the commotion had roused the curiosity of a great white shark, a marine giant known to the locals as Leviathan. As Serena floated, vulnerable and alone, the predator emerged from the depths, a living legend that had shared an unspoken pact with the town decades ago. After that wild windsurfing mishap in Crestwood Bay, Serena was pretty banged up. She had bruises from the unexpected wave tossing her around, and she was scared out of her wits when Leviathan, the big shark, showed up. She had to ditch her trashed windsurfing board and swim for it, hoping the shark wouldn't decide she was its next meal. As the town mobilized a search party, unaware of the unfolding drama in the open sea, Serena's strength waned, and the tension reached its zenith. During Serena's encounter with the great white shark, something changed. The great white shark followed her closely, creating a connection that felt unusual, a pact that Serena unknowingly invoked as she swam, locked in a delicate balance between predator and prey. Meanwhile, the town grappled with Serena's disappearance, and the ocean, once a playground, became an unpredictable abyss. In the climax of this harrowing encounter, a subtle shift occurred. The great white shark veered away, disappearing into the depths with a graceful flick of its tail. Serena, exhausted and bewildered, emerged from the water to the jubilation of the rescue party. With bated breath, the town listened to her harrowing tale, struggling to reconcile the inexplicable events that had unfolded beneath the waves. Back on land, Serena tended to her injuries as best as she could, dealing with the aftermath of this encounter. The town got wind of her wild tale, and it left everyone scratching their heads. Serena, once this windsurfing champ, now had the physical reminders of a struggle with the unpredictability of the ocean. The town, forever changed by the mysterious bond forged beneath the waves, struggled to come to terms with the incident at Crestwood Bay. Having experienced the unfathomable, Serena withdrew from competitive windsurfing, forever haunted by the untamed depths that had spared her life. Serena's withdrawal from competitive windsurfing, marked by a haunting reticence, sent ripples through the tight-knit community of Crestwood Bay. The once boisterous windsurfing champion now wandered the shores in quiet contemplation, her gaze often drawn to the expansive ocean that had both nurtured and tested her. The townsfolk, who had witnessed the inexplicable encounter between Serena and Leviathan, grappled with a newfound reverence for the depths that surrounded them. As Serena navigated her internal tumult, the town buzzed with speculative murmurs. Captain Ezekiel Pierce, now a living repository of maritime wisdom, observed Serena's transformation with a solemn understanding. His eyes, the storyteller's lanterns, held a depth of knowledge that transcended mere anecdotes. The legend of his unspoken pact with the great white shark became a whispered narrative, a parable shared among the residents of Crestwood Bay. In the wake of Serena's withdrawal, the coastal town underwent a subtle metamorphosis. The once thriving windsurfing culture took a back seat to a more contemplative appreciation for the ocean's unpredictable beauty. Crestwood Bay became a haven for those seeking solace in the rhythmic cadence of the waves, a place where the tangible and the mystical coexisted in the salty breeze. Inspired by the unspoken pact that had spared Serena's life, the town's elders initiated efforts to conserve and protect the marine life that called the bay home. A newfound harmony between man and nature emerged, a delicate balance maintained by the collective understanding that had surfaced from Serena's harrowing encounter. Once a silent witness to maritime tales, the lighthouse became a beacon of conservation, its light symbolic of a shared responsibility towards the untamed realms of the ocean. Meanwhile, Serena grappled with the aftermath of her encounter. Dreams of windsurfing glory collided with the haunting memory of the shark's gaze. The ocean, once her ally, now held a wondrous allure that both beckoned and repelled. Seeking solace, she found herself drawn to the lighthouse, where Captain Pierce, the keeper of maritime secrets, offered a quiet companionship. Serena and the old captain embarked on a journey to unravel the wonders that bound their fates. The winds of change whispered through the coastal town, fusing the past with the present in a dance of untamed narratives. As the years passed, Crestwood Bay became a symbol of coexistence between humanity and the natural forces of nature. The legend of Serena and the great white shark, woven into the fabric of the town's lore, inspired a new generation to approach the ocean with reverence rather than fear. Once the pinnacle of Crestwood Bay's identity, the windsurfing championship transformed into a celebration of the delicate balance maintained by those who had learned to navigate the unpredictable currents of life. Having found a sense of closure and purpose, Serena had become an ambassador for marine conservation. Her voice echoed through schools and community gatherings, a testament to the transformative power of untamed encounters. In the twilight of his years, Captain Ezekiel Pierce watched with pride as the town he had silently guarded embraced a newfound harmony with the ocean. Crestwood Bay stood as a living testament to the delicate dance between humanity and the untamed forces that shape our existence. The lighthouse, perched on the cliffs, cast its unwavering light over a town that had learned to embrace the mysteries of the ocean with open hearts and a shared understanding. An understanding forged in the depths of a harrowing encounter between a fearless windsurfer and the guardian of the deep, the great white shark. Jack Harper loved adventures in the beautiful waters of the Great Barrier Reef, Australia. Jack had been kayaking for years and had seen many beautiful places from his little boat. But there was one place he dreamed of exploring more than any other: the remote coastline of the Great Barrier Reef, famous for its clear blue waters and the many fascinating animals that lived there. One sunny morning in 2010, Jack decided it was the perfect day for an adventure. He prepared his kayak with everything he might need: a life jacket, a paddle, water, and a little food. He pushed his kayak into the water, jumped in, and started paddling. The water was as clear as glass, and he saw colorful fish swimming below him. He felt happy and excited to be on this adventure. As Jack paddled along the coastline, he admired the beauty around him. He saw birds flying overhead and dolphins jumping in the distance. It was like being in a whole new world, a world of water and life. Jack felt part of this beautiful place, and his heart was joyful. But then, something unexpected happened. While Jack was enjoying his journey, a curious and somewhat aggressive hammerhead shark appeared. Hammerhead sharks are easy to recognize because their heads look like a hammer. This shark seemed very interested in Jack and his kayak. At first, Jack wasn't scared. He knew the ocean was home to many animals, and seeing a shark wasn't unusual. But then, the shark started circling his kayak, getting closer and closer. Jack remembered all the stories he had read and the advice he had been given about what to do if a shark came close. He knew he had to stay calm and not make sudden movements that could scare the shark or make it act defensively. But staying calm was hard when the shark began bumping into his kayak, as if trying to figure out this strange object. Jack tried to paddle away slowly, hoping the shark would lose interest. But the shark didn't go away. Instead, it became more aggressive and started attacking the kayak. Jack knew he was in a dangerous situation. He had to think fast and use his survival skills to protect himself and his kayak. Using his paddle, Jack tried to push the shark away every time it came close gently. He didn't want to hurt the shark. He just wanted to show it that he wasn't food and that it should leave him alone. It was a scary moment, and Jack's heart was beating fast. He knew he had to be brave and intelligent to escape this situation safely. As the sun set, the shark finally seemed to lose interest in Jack and his kayak. Jack was relieved but knew he wasn't out of danger yet. The shark's bites had damaged his kayak, and water was starting to get in. He had to find a way to return to shore safely, but it would be a long and challenging journey with a damaged kayak. Jack looked at the coastline in the distance, took a deep breath, and started paddling toward safety. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was determined to make it. As night began to fall, Jack paddled with all his strength, hoping he would reach the shore before it was too dark to see. As Jack paddled through the darkening waters, every stroke was a battle against fear and fatigue. The coastline seemed far away, and his kayak took on water faster than he had hoped. The sky turned pink to deep blue, and the stars twinkled above him. It was beautiful, but Jack couldn't focus on the beauty. He had to keep moving, keep paddling toward safety. The water inside his kayak made it heavy and hard to move. Jack remembered something he had learned a long time ago about survival. He took off his life jacket and used it to scoop water out of the kayak. It was a slow process, and he had to stop paddling to do it, but it was working. The kayak became lighter and easier to move. Jack felt a spark of hope. He put his life jacket back on and paddled with renewed energy. But the ocean was not done with Jack yet. The wind picked up, and waves began to rock his kayak. It was scary, but Jack knew he had to keep his balance. He focused on the stars, using them to guide his direction straight. He thought about all the adventures he had been on and how he had always found his way back home. This time would be no different, he told himself. After what felt like hours, Jack finally saw lights on the shore. He was getting close, but he was also exhausted. His arms felt like they could barely move. He thought about giving up, but then he thought about everyone who cared about him. He couldn't give up. He had to make it back for them. With his last bit of strength, Jack paddled toward the lights. As he got closer, he could see the beach and the trees. He could hear the waves crashing on the shore. It was the most beautiful sound he had ever heard. Finally, with one last push, Jack's kayak hit the sand. He had made it. He was safe. Jack dragged himself and his kayak onto the beach. He was exhausted, but he was alive. He looked back at the ocean, at the dark waters that had tested him. He had faced a shark, fought the waves, and won. He knew he would never forget this adventure. The next day, Jack told his story to the people in the nearest town. They were amazed by his bravery and his survival skills. Jack became a legend, the man who faced a hammerhead shark and lived to tell the tale. But for Jack, the experience was more than a story. It was a reminder of how mighty and unpredictable the ocean could be, and how precious life was. Jack continued to kayak and explore, but he was more cautious. He respected the ocean more than ever. And he remembered his encounter with the shark every time he went out on the water. It had been a terrifying experience, but it had also shown him how strong and brave he could be. Jack Harper had faced his greatest fear, and he had emerged stronger. The adventure had changed him, and made him appreciate every moment of his life even more. The events occurred on the rocky shoreline of Port Ainsworth, a quaint fishing hamlet tucked away on the northern coast of Tasmania, Australia. The year was 1995, and the city was well known for its extensive maritime heritage, which included stories of courageous fishermen and dangerous marine animals that have echoed through the ages. Brittany Wilson, an intrepid marine researcher, and Kenny Mitchell, an experienced diver, found themselves pulled to the ocean's depths in the hopes of discovering the wonders beneath its surface. Their objective was to investigate the behaviors of great white sharks known to frequent the seas near Port Ainsworth. As they made their way deeper, they were resolute in their goal to help the ongoing conservation efforts by filming unique footage and collecting vital data. Their perspective on the wild world under the waters was irrevocably shifted, due to the unfortunate run-in with the man-eating shark, which was a defining moment in their lives. In the field of oceanographic research, Brittany Wilson and Kenny Mitchell formed a formidable partnership. They had been on several adventures together before, but none had been as dangerous as the one waiting for them in the depths of Port Ainsworth. They were driven by a fascination and passion for the ocean's wonders. The sun was low on the horizon, throwing a warm golden glow on the still waters and stretching out before them. Their vessel was anchored a short distance beyond the breaking waves. The salty breeze carried the expectation of a day packed with new insights and experiences. Their enthusiasm could be felt as they prepared for the event. Brittany carefully inspected her camera equipment, ensuring that each lens was spotless and that all the batteries were charged. The lines engraved into Kenny's face were a monument to the years he had spent beneath the waves. Kenny scrutinized his diving gear with the accuracy of an experienced professional. They gave each other one last look, nodded, and then walked off into the distance, leaving the warm air behind them to enter the refreshing ocean waters. They went deeper into the domain of silence once the water closed around them like a blanket. The underwater landscape of Port Ainsworth was a beautiful patchwork of thriving corals and forests of kelp that swayed in the current. They were surrounded by schools of fish, which flashed silver in the sunlight's mottled pattern. It was a realm that managed to be both peaceful and wild simultaneously, where splendor and peril coexisted in an exquisite dance. Their objective was to track down the elusive great white sharks, considered the most dangerous predators in these waters. Brittany and Kenny thought that, with their extensive knowledge of the enormous creature's behavior, they would be able to acquire film that would shed light on the habits and activities of the massive animals. As the hours changed into days, the days turned into weeks as they diligently searched the depths. Their interactions with the sharks were breathtaking, but they always maintained a safe distance out of respect for the animals. The enormous animals moved through the water with a grace that belied their strength, their eyes bright and intelligent despite their lack of facial features. The sea's temperament shifted suddenly on a morning that would forever be remembered. The unspoken tension in the air caused the IT to become heavier, and the color of the water began to become darker. Brittany and Kenny both had the distinct impression that there had been a change in the natural order. They returned to their regular location when they noticed a shadow forming in the distance. It was enormous, a natural power that exercised dominion over the water all around it. The great white shark, a mammoth creature driven purely by instinct, moved with deliberate intent. Fear paralyzed them, but simultaneously a determination born out of respect for the wild gripped their hearts. They didn't move an inch while the cameras kept rolling, documenting every exquisite detail of the gorgeous creature. Everything shifted in an instant without any warning. The shark propelled itself forward as if propelled by an unseen power. It made a horrific crunching sound as its jaws, laced with razor-sharp teeth, clamped around Kenny's leg. As the fight continued, the color of the water changed to a deep crimson. The training for Brittany began to bear fruit. She battled to keep calm while concentrating on photographing the terrifying event. The world around her appeared to get hazy, and the muffled sounds of the ocean were like a faint afterthought. Kenny was able to break free of his confinement in a last-ditch effort to save his life, but the harm had already been done. There was a brief moment of understanding when their gazes met before parting ways in silence. He gave himself one final shove and drove towards the surface, leaving a trail of blood behind him as he went. Because it was still hungry, the shark switched its focus to Brittany. As she looked into the eyes of the being that held the power of life and death in its grasp, the seconds stretched into eternity before her. Then, under a sudden burst of primitive instinct, Brittany decided in a split second. She unhooked the weighted belt around her waist and kicked upwards, propelling her towards the water's surface. The entire ocean was engulfed in a disorderly frenzy of bubbles and mayhem. Brittany, whose heart was racing in her chest, finally broke the water's surface as she gasped for oxygen. The boat was barely visible as a dot on the horizon in the far distance. She used every ounce of effort she had left to force herself forward, the memory of Kenny's sacrifice raging through her veins as she did so. She was fatigued and beaten when rescuers finally dragged her out of the ocean many hours later. The damage done by the sea was both visible and invisible, leaving scars in its wake. Brittany's eyes never left the horizon, as if she were making a secret pledge to the wild world that had irrevocably altered her life path going forward. Brittany knew she was carrying a story that went beyond the limits of human comprehension as the sun descended below the horizon and spread a blazing glow across the water's surface. She had learned what it meant to be untamed from the shark that ate humans because it was a force of nature, and she, in turn, would carry that wild urge within her, serving as a light for those who dared to walk into the wild unknown. On the golden sands of Whispering Palms Beach, nestled on the picturesque coast of California, the Miller family gathered under the warm embrace of the summer sun on July 17, 2010. It was a day marked for celebration, a family reunion that brought together the extended family from afar. The patriarch, David Miller, a devoted father and husband, was the heart of the festivities, his laughter and joy infectious, setting the tone for a day of memories and togetherness. Whispering Palms Beach, known for its scenic beauty and gentle waves, was also home to a diverse marine ecosystem. Among its inhabitants were sharks, creatures that inspired both awe and caution. Local conservation efforts ensured a balanced coexistence, educating visitors on respecting wildlife while enjoying the beach's natural splendor. David, along with his children Ethan, 10, and Lily, 8, had spent the morning building sandcastles and exploring the tide pools, their curiosity about the ocean's wonders encouraged by their father's love for nature. His wife, Sarah Miller, watched on, capturing these moments in photographs, the joy in their faces a testament to their bond. As the afternoon sun cast a golden glow over the beach, David and his children ventured into the surf, laughter echoing as they played in the waves. The family reunion, a rare gathering of aunts, uncles, and cousins, looked on, a tableau of happiness and familial warmth. The beach, a popular spot for locals and tourists alike, was bustling, the air filled with the sounds of summer. Lifeguards patrolled the shoreline, vigilant, as children darted in and out of the water, their shrieks of delight mingling with the ocean's roar. Ever the adventurer, David enticed Ethan and Lily into a game of chase, dodging waves and splashing in the shallows. Their pure and uninhibited laughter was a melody Sarah held close, a reminder of the simple joys that family brought. But nature, in all its beauty, harbors unpredictability. Beneath the surface of Whispering Palms Beach, marine life followed its ancient rhythms, unseen yet ever-present. Though rarely a threat in these waters, sharks moved with purpose, crossing paths with those who ventured into their domain. As the day waned, the unthinkable happened. A shadow beneath the waves, unnoticed amidst the joy and laughter, turned a day of celebration into a fight for survival. In a moment of terror, David found himself face to face with one of the ocean's most formidable predators. The shark, perhaps drawn by the commotion or mistaking him for prey, launched an attack that shattered the tranquility of Whispering Palms Beach. The Miller family's day of reunion was suddenly cast into chaos, a stark reminder of the ocean's power and the fragility of life. The serene beauty of Whispering Palms Beach was ruptured by a scream that pierced the air, a sound so jarring it seemed to stop time itself. Once scattered in joyful abandon, the Miller family converged in a united front of panic and fear at the water's edge. David, the beloved father and husband, was locked in a survival dance against the might of the ocean's predator. Sarah's heart plummeted into despair as she witnessed the shark's silhouette weaving through the water, its target unmistakably her husband. Ethan and Lily, their laughter silenced by the unfolding horror, clung to their mother, their small faces etched with confusion and fear. The lifeguards, trained for moments like these, yet always hoping never to face them, sprang into action with a practiced urgency. Their whistles sounded a cacophony of alarms as they directed the crowd back, clearing the way for rescue. In the chaos of the attack, as David Miller was suddenly thrust into a life-or-death struggle, the beach's festive atmosphere was shattered by a deafening silence, followed by a surge of panicked screams. The shark, a formidable predator of the deep, had mistaken David for its usual prey in the murky waters stirred by the day's activities. Its powerful jaws clamped down on his leg, pulling with a force that threatened to drag him under. David's instincts kicked in, a primal fight for survival as he struck at the shark. Each hit a plea for life. The water around him churned violently, a whirlpool of fear and determination as he fought to free himself from the shark's grip. His children, Ethan and Lily, watched in horror, their screams muffled by the pounding of their hearts as their father battled the beast. Witnessing the scene unfold, Sarah felt a rush of terror and adrenaline. She raced into the water, her only thought to reach David, to somehow pull him from the jaws of death. The lifeguards, trained for such emergencies, responded quickly, their rescue boards slicing through the water as they made their way to David. The shark, perhaps startled by the commotion or satisfied with its assault, released David and disappeared into the depths from which it came. The water, now a haunting reminder of the ordeal, was stained with David's blood, a stark contrast to the clear blue that had welcomed the family hours earlier. As the lifeguards reached David, pulling him onto a rescue board, his body was a map of the attack's ferocity. The leg wound was grievous, a testament to the shark's power, but it was David's will to survive that marked the moment. His eyes, though clouded with pain, burned with an unspoken resolve. The beach, once a place of joy and laughter for the Miller family, had become the scene of a stark reality of nature's unpredictability. In the aftermath of the attack, as David was rushed to the hospital, the Miller family stood united, their bonds strengthened in the face of adversity. The community rallied around them, offering support and prayers for David's recovery. The incident at Whispering Palms Beach was a grim lesson, a call to action for better safety measures and respect for the marine life that shared their home. The story of the Miller family's ordeal and David's brave fight for survival became a narrative of hope, a reminder that even in our darkest moments, the strength of family and the power of the human spirit can illuminate the path to healing and understanding. Born in the heart of Mexico City, Adriana Morales was always enchanted by the sea. As a child, she spent her summers at her grandmother's house in Puerto Escondido, where she first fell in love with the ocean. Her days were spent combing the beaches, collecting shells, and marveling at the marine life in the tide pools. Her grandmother, a retired marine biologist, fueled her curiosity with stories of the deep sea and its mysteries. Adriana's decision to follow in her grandmother's footsteps came naturally. Her academic journey was marked by determination and excellence. She pursued marine biology at the university, where she stood out for her keen interest in coral ecosystems. Her research on coral bleaching brought her recognition in academic circles. However, it was her passion for fieldwork that defined her career path. She believed that true understanding came from direct interaction with the marine environment. Puerto Escondido, a jewel along the Yucatan Peninsula, was more than just a scenic town. Its culture was deeply intertwined with the sea, shaping the lives of its inhabitants. The town, known for its vibrant markets, colorful festivals, and warm, welcoming people, had a rich history of fishing and sea trade. The local community, a tapestry of fishermen, artisans, and small business owners, viewed the sea as both a provider and a wondrous entity. Legends of the sea were passed down through generations, adding a wondrous dimension to their daily lives. Adriana's return to Puerto Escondido was not only a professional endeavor, but also a homecoming. She had become a professional diver, mastering the art of moving around the sea with her skills. The town, with its mix of nostalgia and newfound development, presented both familiar comfort and fresh challenges. Preparations for the expedition were meticulous. Adriana spent days checking her diving gear, calibrating her camera equipment, and poring over sea charts. She collaborated closely with local diving experts, absorbing their knowledge of the area's currents and underwater topography. Safety was paramount. She ran multiple checks on her oxygen tanks, underwater lights, and communication devices. Her equipment included a specialized underwater camera designed for deep-sea photography and a sturdy, custom-made wetsuit. Adriana also arranged for a small support team, consisting of a boat pilot and a fellow marine biologist, to assist her during the dives. Adriana's arrival coincided with a local initiative to protect the coral reefs. The town was abuzz with efforts led by a group of environmental activists aiming to raise awareness about the threats to the local marine ecosystem. Among them was Luis, a charismatic local fisherman turned conservationist, who had witnessed the degradation of the reefs over the years. Luis and Adriana quickly found common ground in their passion for the ocean. He shared tales of the reef's former glory and the challenges they faced, from overfishing to pollution. Together they organized community meetings where Adriana provided insights into the scientific aspects of conservation, while Luis spoke about practical, sustainable fishing practices. Each dive brought Adriana face to face with the vibrant inhabitants of the coral reefs. She marveled at the delicate dance of the angelfish and the stealthy movements of moray eels. Clownfish darted between the anemones, while sea turtles glided majestically overhead. One particular encounter with a school of bioluminescent jellyfish left Adriana spellbound. She dived alone, and as she swam amongst them, their glowing forms illuminated the ocean's twilight, creating a surreal, dreamlike experience. Her camera captured this enchanting spectacle, hoping to convey the urgent need to protect such wonders. It was then that she had a pivotal encounter with a massive reef shark, which seemed aggressive and harrowing. The shark first appeared as a fleeting shadow. As it circled closer, Adriana could see its eyes, unblinking and calculating. She kept her movements slow and deliberate, avoiding direct eye contact. The shark, perhaps sensing her respect and understanding, gradually ceased its aggressive posturing. Adriana observed its behavior, noting scars that spoke of past battles and survival. The aggressive reef shark, a formidable silhouette against the dimming light, launched a sudden attack. Its powerful body thrust through the water with alarming speed, its jaws snapping fiercely near her. Adriana's heart pounded in her chest as she narrowly dodged the shark's initial strike. Years of training and her innate presence of mind kicked in. She knew that panic would only escalate the situation. Using her camera as a shield, she deftly maneuvered away from the shark, and her movements calculated yet swift. Despite her efforts, the shark's rough skin grazed her, leaving behind a stinging trail of bruises and scrapes on her arms and legs. The encounter was a harrowing dance of survival. Each of Adriana's evasive moves met with the shark's relentless pursuit. Finally, as if acknowledging her resilience, the shark ceased its attack, disappearing into the deep blue, leaving Adriana with both physical wounds and a profound respect for the untamed force she had just encountered. Her escape was not just a testament to her skills as a diver, but also a reminder of the unpredictable nature of the marine world she so loved. This moment of connection shifted her perception. The shark was not a mindless predator, but an essential part of the reef's ecosystem, deserving of respect and understanding. Exhausted and wounded, Adriana floated on the surface of the water, her breaths coming in ragged gasps. The adrenaline that had sustained her during the encounter with the shark began to wane, and the reality of her situation set in. Feeling the sting of her injuries and the weight of her equipment, she mustered the strength to call for help. Her voice, at first a hoarse whisper, grew stronger as she shouted into the vast expanse of the sea. The sound of her cries echoed across the water, a desperate plea in the vastness of the ocean. Fortuitously, a group of local fishermen who were returning from their day's catch heard her calls. They steered their boat towards the source of the sound, their seasoned eyes quickly spotting Adriana's figure in the water. As they approached, they were taken aback by her condition. The bruises and cuts marring her skin spoke volumes of her harrowing ordeal. With swift and practiced movements, they helped her aboard, offering her water and first aid. Their boat cut through the waves, heading back to shore as they reassured Adriana and tended to her wounds. The fishermen's timely intervention was not just a rescue, but a testament to the solidarity and kindness that existed among those who shared a deep connection with the sea. As the shoreline neared, Adriana lay on the deck, her mind replaying the day's events, grateful for the unexpected guardians who had brought her safely back to land. Back in the sanctuary of her small home in Puerto Escondido, Adriana took the time to recover and reflect. The walls, adorned with marine-themed decorations and her underwater photographs, seemed to echo her recent experience silently. Lying in her bed, she nursed the physical reminders of her encounter, the bruises that painted her skin, and the cuts that were healing into scars. Each mark was a memory, a story of survival against the raw power of nature. During her recovery, Adriana found solace in the quiet hours, allowing her thoughts to wander through the events that had transpired. The fear and adrenaline of the encounter gradually gave way to a deeper understanding and respect for the marine life she had dedicated herself to studying. She realized that her experience with the reef shark, though harrowing, was a valuable lesson in the delicate balance of the underwater ecosystem. The shark in its territory, had acted on instinct, a guardian of its realm. As days turned into weeks, Adriana's physical wounds healed, and with it, a renewed sense of purpose emerged. She began compiling her notes and photographs, intending to share her story with the world. Her aim was not just to recount a tale of survival, but to highlight the importance of understanding and respecting marine life. She organized a series of talks and presentations, first in her community in Puerto Escondido, and later at various environmental conferences. Her message was clear. Every creature in the ocean, no matter how feared or misunderstood, plays a crucial role in the marine ecosystem. Her encounter with the reef shark became a powerful narrative that underscored the need for marine conservation and respect for the natural world. Adriana's experience, which had begun as a personal challenge, transformed into an opportunity to educate and inspire others. Her journey, marked by resilience and a deepening connection with the sea, had become a catalyst for change, bridging the gap between human understanding and the mysterious depths of the ocean. Her story was not just about survival, but about finding harmony and respect in the vast waters of the world. Sapphire Bay lies in the sprawling, sun-drenched expanse of Australia's Gold Coast, renowned for its sparkling beaches and formidable waves. It's a location that whispers tales of adventure and the untamed spirit of the ocean. On this particular day, September 5, 2012, the bay was abuzz with anticipation for the annual Sapphire Ocean Challenge, a long-distance swimming event that attracted athletes from around the globe. Among the participants were Ella Harrison, a seasoned open-water swimmer with the heart of a lioness, and her devoted coach, James "Jim" Bennett, a former champion swimmer himself. With her striking determination, Ella had been training for months, carving through the waters of Sapphire Bay with grace and power, her sights set on completing the challenge and emerging victorious. While a paradise for surfers and swimmers, Sapphire Bay was known for its diverse marine inhabitants, including the majestic yet formidable sharks patrolling the deeper waters. These creatures, apex predators of their realm, were respected and feared. The locals had coexisted with these sea giants for generations, understanding the delicate balance between admiration and caution. The morning of the event, the air was excited and nervous. Standing at the shoreline, Ella gazed into the horizon, her mind a mix of focus and silent prayers. Ever the supportive mentor, Jim offered words of encouragement, reminding her of the strength and resilience within her. The race began with the sound of a horn slicing through the morning calm. Swimmers plunged into the cool embrace of the ocean, their bodies rhythmically moving through the waves, a beautiful display of human endurance and the quest for triumph. With her powerful strokes, Ella quickly found her rhythm, her body in perfect harmony with the sea. As the swimmers ventured further from shore, the crystalline blue of the shallows gave way to the deeper, darker blues of the open ocean. Here, in the vastness of the waters, the reality of their challenge truly set in. Ella, undeterred, pressed on, her eyes fixed on the distant buoy that marked the halfway point. But nature had its script, one that no human could predict or control. Without warning, the serene scene was shattered by a sudden, terrifying encounter. A shark, drawn by the commotion in its domain, launched an attack, its sights set on Ella. The predator's approach was swift and silent, a stark reminder of the ocean's hidden dangers. The first sign of trouble was a sharp, excruciating pain in Ella's hand. In a display of raw power, the shark had latched onto her, its teeth quickly cutting through the water and skin. Panic ensued as Ella fought to free herself from the shark's grip, her strokes now fueled by sheer survival instinct. Seeing the horror from the support boat, Jim felt a wave of helplessness wash over him. The race had turned from a test of endurance to a desperate fight for life. Around them, the water turned turbulent, a chaotic blend of thrashing and shouting as the other swimmers and support crew raced to Ella's aid. The shark, perhaps startled by the sudden flurry of activity, released its grip, disappearing into the depths from whence it came. The aftermath of the attack was a blur of motion and emotion. Ella was quickly pulled from the water, her hand grievously injured, the dream of victory now the furthest thing from her mind. The race ended abruptly as safety boats converged and the air was filled with sirens and urgent voices. The beach, once a starting point of dreams and aspirations, had become the scene of a stark reminder of the ocean's unpredictability and the inherent risks of venturing into the domain of nature's most adept predators. Ella Harrison, once a contender in the Sapphire Ocean Challenge, now lies on the sand, surrounded by paramedics, her coach Jim Bennett by her side. She clutches her uninjured hand, offering words of comfort amidst the chaos. The paramedics worked swiftly, assessing Ella's injuries with professional calmness that belied the gravity of the situation. The shark's attack had left a deep laceration on her hand, a physical testament to the ordeal she had just endured. The crowd gathered was a mix of fellow athletes, spectators, and media, all united in a shared sense of shock and concern for the fallen swimmer. Transported to the hospital, Ella's journey from the emergency room to the recovery ward was a blur. Doctors and nurses flitted in and out, their voices a soft murmur against the backdrop of beeping monitors and the sterile scent of antiseptics. The initial prognosis was hopeful. The damage, while severe, was not life-threatening, and with surgery and rehabilitation, Ella would regain the use of her hand. The shark attack news spread like wildfire, catapulting Sapphire Bay and its ocean challenge into the global spotlight. The incident sparked a heated debate on human interaction with wildlife, the ethics of such sporting events, and the measures in place to ensure the safety of participants. Back in the hospital, as Ella regained consciousness, the weight of her ordeal began to sink in. The dreams of triumph in the Sapphire Ocean Challenge, of proving her mettle against the forces of nature, had been dashed most brutally. Jim's constant presence by her bedside was a source of comfort. Together they spoke of the future, not just of recovery and rehabilitation, but of advocacy for safer interactions between humans and the marine world. The road ahead would be challenging, but she was ready to face it head-on, her spirit unbroken, her resolve more vital than ever. Sapphire Bay and its ocean challenge would always be different after the attack. But for Ella Harrison, this was not the end of her story with the ocean. It was a new beginning, a chance to forge a new path, one stroke at a time. In recent memory, a brave and fast swimmer named Emily Stone was preparing for a giant swimming race in the sunny Florida Keys. This wasn't just any race, it was a long journey through the ocean, where swimmers had to be very strong to finish. Emily had trained for months, swimming every day to prepare for this big day. She loved the water and felt at home swimming with the fish and sea turtles. The race day was bright and sunny, with clear blue skies and the ocean looking like a giant sparkling pool. Emily put on her swimming cap and goggles, ready to show everyone how fast she could swim. She lined up with the other swimmers, her heart beating with excitement and nervousness. When the whistle blew, they all dove into the water, their arms slicing through the waves as they started their long swim. Emily felt great, her arms strong and her breath steady. She looked around and saw the other swimmers beside her, everyone trying their best. But as they got farther from the shore, the water felt different. Like a mighty river in the ocean, a strong current pulled Emily away from the other swimmers. She tried to swim against it, but it was too strong. Soon she found herself all alone, the other swimmers just tiny dots in the distance. Emily wasn't scared at first. She knew the ocean well and thought she could find her way back to the race course. But as she swam, she noticed the water getting deeper and darker. The friendly fish she was used to seeing were gone, replaced by more prominent, shadowy figures that moved swiftly below her. Without realizing it, Emily had swum into a place where sharks liked to come and eat. The locals knew it as a shark-feeding ground, and it was not a place for swimmers. Emily had heard stories about it, but never thought she would find herself there. As she looked around trying to figure out the best way to get back, she saw them, a group of black-tip sharks, their sleek bodies cutting through the water, their fins like triangles poking out of the sea. Emily's heart skipped a beat. She had seen sharks before, but never this close and never so many. She remembered what her coach had told her: if you ever meet a shark, stay calm. They might be curious, but usually don't want to bother people. Emily took a deep breath and tried to keep her movements smooth and slow, hoping not to attract attention. But the current still pushed her, and the sharks seemed to notice. They started to circle her, coming closer with each loop. Emily could see their black-tipped fins and their sharp eyes watching her. She knew she had to do something. She couldn't outswim them, but she could show them she wasn't afraid. Taking all her courage, Emily started to swim again, not away from the sharks, but parallel to them, showing she was strong and not easy to scare. She hoped they would lose interest and leave her alone. But as she swam, one shark, more significant than the others, swam closer, its fin cutting through the water straight towards her. Emily's heart was pounding. She knew she had to keep her head and remember her training. She was in their world and had to be competent to return to hers. In the deep waters of the Florida Keys, Emily Stone faced the biggest challenge of her life. Surrounded by black-tip sharks, her heart raced like a drum. But she remembered what made her a champion: her speed, courage, and intelligent thinking. With the giant shark coming closer, Emily did something surprising. Instead of swimming away quickly, which might make the shark chase her, she floated calmly and looked big in the water. She spread her arms and legs wide, showing the shark she wasn't afraid. The giant shark circled her again, its fins slicing through the water like a knife. Emily looked right into its eyes, showing no fear. Then, something unique happened. The shark stopped coming closer, looked at Emily briefly, and then with a flick of its tail it swam away. Seeing their leader leave, the other sharks followed, disappearing into the deep blue sea. Emily let out a big sigh of relief. She had faced her fear and won, but she wasn't safe yet. She needed to get back to the race course and find help. She started swimming with all her might, using her arms and legs to push through the water. The current that had taken her away now helped her get back. As she swam, Emily saw something in the distance. It was a boat, part of the race team looking for her. She waved her arms high, and the ship came rushing towards her. The people on the boat pulled her in, asking if she was okay and if she had seen the sharks. Emily nodded, her breath still heavy from the swim and the fear. She mentioned sharks but reassured everyone that she was unharmed. The people on the boat were astounded by her bravery, offering her a blanket and water as the boat quickly returned to shore. When they arrived, everyone was waiting for Emily. The other swimmers, the race organizers, and the local people who had heard about her adventure. They all cheered for her, calling her Shark Whisperer and Ocean Champion. Emily smiled, happy to be safe and to have such a story to tell. But the biggest surprise was yet to come. The race organizers decided to give Emily a special award, not just for her swimming, but for her bravery and respect for the ocean and its creatures. They said she had shown everyone the importance of understanding and facing our fears, not with panic but with courage and calm. From that day on, Emily was more than just a swimmer. She was a hero, an example of how to face the unknown with bravery and a calm heart. People listened whenever she told her story, learning that the ocean is a place of wonder and respect, where even the scariest encounters can teach us something important about ourselves. Her story inspires others to face their fears and remember that courage and calm can bring us safely home, even in the deepest waters. Nestled along the southern coast of South Africa, the small fishing town of Gansbaai had earned its formidable reputation as the great white shark capital of the world. This distinction was rooted in the frigid embrace of the Atlantic Ocean, where these magnificent and fearsome creatures roamed with an air of sovereignty. Divers around the globe were drawn to this coastal haven, enticed by the promise of cage diving encounters that offered a heart-pounding communion with the ocean's most formidable residents. In September 2022, as spring began to stir in the southern hemisphere, 3 intrepid friends embarked on a journey to Gansbaai, a blend of anticipation and trepidation pulsating through their veins. Jack Sullivan, a thrill-seeker with an insatiable appetite for pushing the boundaries of adventure. Emily Parker, an environmental scientist driven by an unquenchable curiosity about the ocean's environment. And Alex Mitchell, a seasoned diver whose calm exterior concealed a hidden passion for the thrill of the deep, formed this intrepid trio. Gansbaai's acclaim was well-earned. The waters surrounding it teemed with marine life, serving as a sanctuary for great white sharks. Its craggy coastline, adorned with jagged rocks, concealed mysterious underwater caves that provided refuge to these enigmatic predators. As Jack, Emily, and Alex boarded the dive boat, the scent of adventure hung thick in the salt-laden air. Their descent into the ocean's depths was marked by eager anticipation. Encased within the secure confines of their cage, they ventured into the churning waters, the dark abyss of the ocean yawning beneath them. Shadows soon emerged. 2 colossal great white sharks, graceful yet robust, circled their cage with the intent of seasoned predators. It was a breathtaking spectacle, a dream come true for these adventurers. 1 hour passed, enjoying the underwater cage diving. An undercurrent of unease began to creep into the cage. The sharks, typically characterized by caution and curiosity, displayed unprecedented aggression. Jack, Emily, and Alex exchanged apprehensive glances. Their initial enthusiasm was now tinged with doubt. They were well aware of the inherent risks, yet nothing could have prepared them for the nightmare that unfolded before their eyes. With a sudden, terrifying ferocity, one of the great whites lunged at the cage, its massive jaws clamping down on the metal bars. Panic seized the divers as the cage shuddered under the ferocity of the shark's assault. Their hearts pounded in their chests as they watched in abject horror, their breaths suspended in a watery silence. The dive master, a seasoned professional accustomed to such situations, desperately attempted to deter the shark. He pushed the predator away, employing a metal prod, but the great white's frenzy was relentless. In a nightmarish frenzy, it thrashed and twisted, its colossal form threatening to breach the cage's fragile defenses. The cacophony of metal clashing against teeth reverberated through the depths. Amidst the chaos, tragedy struck with brutal force. As the cage buckled under the shark's relentless onslaught, a section of the bars gave way, hurtling Jack into the open water. The ocean swallowed him instantly, and within the blink of an eye, he was engulfed in darkness and a sea of razor-sharp teeth. Emily and Alex, their screams silenced by the water, could only watch in helpless terror as their friend's life hung by a thread. The dive master, driven by sheer determination and unyielding courage, continued to fend off the shark, battling to keep it away from the cage. It was a contest of wills, played out in the unforgiving depths of the Atlantic. While one shark was attacking the cage, the other shark lunged behind Jack as soon as he fell from the cage. The situation turned worse. Emily and Alex bore witness to the harrowing struggle. There was a narrow beam of hope that Jack would survive and return to the surface. Although, with every passing moment, the odds of Jack's survival grew slimmer. The once clear waters had transformed into a nightmarish battleground of survival and despair. The boat crew pulled the broken cage to the surface minutes before the great white descended. Its aggression, undiminished, finally retreated into the inky depths, leaving behind 2 shattered souls. Emily and Alex, their relief mingled with grief, were hoisted back to the surface, their eyes haunted by the memory of what they had just witnessed. Gansbai, the great white shark capital, had unveiled its darkest secrets on that fateful September day. The incident prompted an exhaustive investigation into the behavior of great whites in the area, raising profound questions about the impact of human interaction on these apex predators. As the sun dipped below the turbulent waters, Emily and Alex left Gansbai, their lives forever marked by an encounter that had tested the limits of human courage and the awe-inspiring power of the ocean's most enigmatic inhabitants. On the serene shores of Blue Haven Island, nestled along the coast of Australia, the morning sun casts a radiant glow over the turquoise waters, heralding a day of promise and adventure. It was the 14th of July, 2002, a day that Alex Thompson, a spirited teen with dreams as vast as the ocean, had eagerly anticipated. Accompanied by his family, Alex was set to explore the underwater marvels that had made Blue Haven a magnet for snorkelers from across the globe. Blue Haven, a jewel in Australia's crown, was celebrated for its stunning coral reefs and the diverse marine life it sustained. Among these were the sharks, creatures both feared and revered. The local fishermen, seasoned by years at sea, often recount tales of the great whites and hammerheads that roamed the depths, respecting these apex predators as masters of their domain. With his youthful curiosity and boundless enthusiasm, Alex was fascinated by these stories. He had spent the previous night poring over books and documentaries about marine life, his excitement barely contained. Alex's father, Michael Thompson, shared his son's passion for the ocean, having been a diver in his younger days. Alongside them were Alex's mother, Sarah, and his younger sister, Lily, both equally eager to witness the underwater spectacle. Their day began with laughter and light-hearted banter as they boarded the small boat that would take them to the prime snorkeling spots around the island. The local guide, a cheerful man named Jack Marley, regaled them with tales of his encounters with the sea's inhabitants, his voice a comforting blend of humor and experience. As they anchored near a coral reef teeming with life, the crystal-clear waters inviting them in, Alex donned his snorkel gear with reverence and anticipation. He glanced at his family, their faces alight with excitement, and plunged into the water, the cool embrace of the ocean welcoming him home. For a while, time stood still as Alex floated above the coral gardens, mesmerized by the kaleidoscope of colors and the dance of fish around him. He felt a profound connection to the world beneath the waves, a world so different from his own yet inexplicably familiar. Unknown to Alex and his family, their idyllic adventure was about to take a dramatic turn. Beneath the surface, unbeknownst to the snorkelers, the delicate balance of predator and prey played out each day, a reminder of the ocean's untamed nature. As Alex ventured further, drawn by the allure of the deep, the day's tranquility was shattered by a sudden terrifying encounter. A shadow loomed large, and in an instant the hunter and the hunted were face to face. In that heartbeat where time seemed to freeze, Alex Thompson stared into a predator's dark, unblinking eye, a primal and majestic creature that commanded fear and awe. The sleek and powerful great white shark, the undisputed sovereign of the depths, moved with a grace that belied its formidable strength. Alex felt a surge of panic as the shark circled closer, its intentions unclear. Every story he'd heard about shark encounters raced through his mind, each one scarier than the last. But amid the fear, a spark of fascination glimmered. Here in the shark's domain, he was an uninvited guest, witnessing the raw beauty of nature in its purest form. The shark, as if sensing Alex's fear, suddenly darted forward. In a split second, the world turned chaotic. The water around Alex churned violently as the shark's powerful jaws found his leg, pulling him with a force that seemed to drain the very breath from his lungs. Pain exploded through him, sharp and all-consuming, a bright burst of agony in the underwater twilight. Above the surface, Jack Marley and the Thompson family watched in horror as the water around where Alex had disappeared roiled ominously. Michael Thompson's heart clenched in terror for his son, while Sarah and Lily screamed for help, their voices carrying across the water. Jack sprang into action, his years of experience on the ocean guiding him as he commanded the boat closer to the attack site. Local fishermen, recognizing the signs of distress, converged on the scene, their ships cutting through the water urgently. In the water, Alex fought with every ounce of strength he possessed. The shark, perhaps surprised by its prey's resilience, released him. Clouds of red billowed around Alex, veiling the water in a curtain of crimson. His leg, though grievously injured, was still intact. Adrenaline coursed through him, dulling the pain and fueling his desperate swim toward the surface. Hands reached out, pulling him from the water's embrace and into the boat's safety. Jack and the fishermen worked together, their actions swift and efficient as they administered first aid, stemming the bleeding and wrapping Alex's leg in makeshift bandages. The return to shore was a blur of motion and emotion. Alex lay in the boat, his body racked with pain but alive, surrounded by his family's relieved and tearful embraces. Once a picture of tranquility, the beach was now a tableau of concern and activity as paramedics took over, rushing Alex to the nearest hospital. In the days that followed, the story of Alex Thompson's encounter with the shark and his dramatic rescue by local fishermen became a testament to the courage and community spirit of Blue Haven Island. The media descended upon the island, eager to recount the tale of survival and the indomitable will of a young man who faced one of the ocean's greatest predators and lived to tell the story. From his hospital bed, surrounded by his family, Alex grappled with the reality of his experience. The physical scars would heal, but the memory of that day would remain etched in his mind forever. Yet within him, something had shifted. Though terrifying, the encounter awakened a profound respect and fascination for the marine world and its inhabitants. He found himself more determined than ever to advocate for protecting sharks in the oceans, creatures not of malice but of beauty and mystery. As Alex shared his story, it resonated with people worldwide, sparking conversations about the importance of understanding and conserving marine life. His ordeal became a bridge, connecting humanity with the often misunderstood world beneath the waves. Blue Haven Island, too, was changed. The community came together, bolstered by the incident, to promote safety in the waters while fostering a deeper appreciation for the delicate balance of life in the ocean. Alex Thompson's journey from teen adventurer to survivor and advocate was a poignant reminder of the thin line between fear and awe and the unbreakable connection between humans and the natural world. The sun rose over the azure waters of Emerald Cove, a picturesque yet challenging racing venue nestled on the coast of Florida, USA. It was September 23, 2005, a day that promised excitement and high adrenaline as the annual Emerald Jet Ski Grand Prix was about to commence. Competitors from across the nation had gathered, their spirits buoyed by the competition and the beauty of the cove known for its clear waters and vibrant marine life. Among them was Samantha "Sam" Jennings, synonymous with talent and determination in the jet ski racing community. At 24, Sam had already clinched several national titles. Her prowess on the water was unmatched, and her focus was unwavering. Today, she was not just another racer, she was the one to beat. While a paradise for racers and tourists alike, Emerald Cove was also home to a diverse ecosystem including several species of sharks. Fishermen and divers often saw these majestic predators in the deeper channels, away from the bustling beaches and racing zones. The locals respected these creatures, understanding their role in the ocean's hierarchy as essential to maintaining ecological balance. Sam's day had begun with a mix of nerves and excitement. The air was charged with anticipation as she reviewed the race course with her coach, Mike Harris. A former racer himself, Mike had seen potential in Sam from her early days, guiding her with a steady hand and an unwavering belief in her abilities. As competitors lined up at the starting point, the buzz from the crowd filled the air, a vibrant mix of cheers and music. Sam, focused and poised, gave her jet ski one last check, a ritual that grounded her amidst the chaos. Her family, always her staunchest supporters, waved from the stands, their faces alight with pride. The race commenced with the roar of engines, slicing through the silence of the cove as racers took off, their jet skis leaping over the waves. Sam, in her element, maneuvered with precision and grace, her eyes fixed on the path ahead. The course was challenging, a test of skill and endurance, weaving through natural obstacles and sharp turns that demanded absolute concentration. Halfway through the race, as Sam rounded a particularly tricky buoy, her jet ski hit an unexpected wave, throwing her off balance. In a heartbeat, the champion racer found herself in the water, the shock of the cold hitting her as she struggled to orient herself. Above the surface, the race continued, the other competitors unaware of Sam's plight. Mike, watching from a distance, felt a surge of worry. It was unlike Sam to falter, and as seconds ticked by with no sign of her resurfacing on her jet ski, his concern deepened. Sam fought to regain her composure in the water, her training kicking in as she looked for her jet ski, floating a few yards away. But as she swam towards it, a shadow beneath the water caught her eye, a presence so ominous that her heart skipped a beat. The shadow beneath the water grew more extensive, and Samantha "Sam" Jennings realized she wasn't alone. The realization hit her like a wave. She was in the domain of one of the ocean's most respected predators, a shark. Panic surged within her, but years of training and innate resilience pushed her toward survival rather than surrender. In the crucial seconds that followed, the shark made its move, a blur of motion that sent adrenaline coursing through Sam's veins. She felt the pressure around her leg, an unbearable pain that threatened to pull her under. Instinctively, she fought, thrashing in the water, her mind racing for a way out of this nightmare. Above the surface, the race had come to an abrupt halt. Mike Harris had sounded the alarm, and rescue teams were already speeding towards the site. The crowd, moments ago alive with excitement, now held its breath in collective apprehension. Sam's world narrowed down to the struggle for survival. She remembered reading about shark encounters and how a show of resistance could sometimes deter the predator. With every ounce of strength she had, she fought, her kicks becoming more frantic, her will to survive burning brighter than the pain. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the attack ceased. The shark, perhaps dissuaded by Sam's resilience, disappeared into the depths of the cove. Sam, buoyed by a mix of relief and shock, was quickly pulled from the water by the rescue team, her leg badly injured but her spirit unbroken. The aftermath of the attack was a whirlwind of activity. Sam was rushed to the hospital, her family and Mike by her side, offering words of comfort and strength. The jet ski racing community rallied around her, their rivalry forgotten in the face of her ordeal. News of the attack spread, reigniting discussions about safety in waters known for shark activity. Recovery was a long road for Sam. The physical wounds healed with time, but the psychological scars remained. Yet in the face of adversity, her spirit never wavered. With Mike's unwavering support and her family's love, she found the courage to face her fears, speak about her experience, and advocate for shark conservation. Sam's story became one of resilience, a testament to the human spirit's capacity to overcome even the most terrifying encounters. She returned to the water not as a racer, but as a champion for the coexistence of humans and marine life. Her experience gave her a unique perspective she shared with young athletes and conservationists. The annual Emerald Jet Ski Grand Prix continued with enhanced safety measures and a renewed emphasis on respecting the ocean's inhabitants. Sam often attended not as a competitor, but as a reminder of the delicate balance between pursuing one's passions and respecting nature's power. In the summer of 2011, the Mariana Archipelago cradled a hidden gem, Isla Serenidad. Known for its lush landscapes and pristine lagoons, this paradise beckoned adventurers from far and wide. Among them was Amelia Harrison, a seasoned traveler with an insatiable wanderlust. Her heart pulsated with excitement as she embarked on a kayaking expedition, seeking the promised tranquility of Isla Serenidad's emerald waters. As Amelia's paddle rhythmically dipped into the clear lagoon, the kayak glided over a vibrant underwater world. The coral reefs beneath painted a mesmerizing tapestry, teeming with exotic fish in a kaleidoscope of colors. Overhead, the tropical symphony of birds and the rustle of palm fronds created a harmonious backdrop for her solitary paddle. Isla Serenidad whispered tales of an ancient guardian, a legendary shark whose name was lost to time. Local folklore spoke of its role as a protector, almost keeping the lagoon safe from intruders. Though believed to be extinct, hints of its existence lingered in the collective consciousness of the islanders. Unbeknownst to Amelia, she had entered this hidden realm where the veil of reality blurred. The tranquil waters betrayed a subtle disturbance as the sun lay below the horizon, casting the lagoon into twilight. The atmosphere shifted, and a dorsal fin sliced through the surface. The ominous silhouette of the enormous shark emerged from the depths. The once serene lagoon transformed into a theater of primal instincts, where the dance of predator and prey unfolded beneath the moonlit canopy. The air thickened with anticipation as nature's symphony gave way to the first heartbeat of the ocean. Amelia's heart raced as the guardian circled her kayak with predatory intent. Its primal gaze invoked an ancestral fear deep within her. Panic surged, but she summoned her innate survival instincts to confront the impending danger. The once serene vessel was transformed into a battleground, witnessing the clash between human resilience and the untamed force of nature. The guardian, a formidable shark, lunged at the kayak, its powerful body bumping against the hull. The air filled with the tension of the struggle as the kayak bore the physical impact of a perilous encounter with the wild. Each stroke of the paddle became a desperate plea for escape as the shark's immense presence loomed. The moonlit water mirrored the turmoil within Amelia's soul. She attempted to outmaneuver the apex predator with every calculated move, navigating the labyrinthine dance of survival. The night wore on, marked by the ebb and flow of the tide, as the struggle between human will and the ancient force of the ocean unfolded. The lagoon, once a sanctuary, now bore witness to a confrontation between two worlds, one shaped by civilization, the other governed by the laws of the wild. Fortunately, the shark retreated, leaving Amelia with a mix of relief and awe at that close encounter with the raw power of the sea. Amelia's ordeal with the guardian shark left its mark in the form of bruises. The struggle in the kayak had taken a toll on her, resulting in scraped arms and a bruised leg. The kayak itself bore the physical scars of the encounter, showing minor damages from the guardian's aggression. Once back on the rocky cliffs, Amelia took a moment to assess her injuries. The cuts were superficial but stung with the salty reminder of her battle with the feral force. The islanders, witnessing her return, offered simple aid, cleaning the wounds and providing basic first aid to ease the discomfort. The kayak, though it had minor damage, remained functional for the return journey to the island's shore. Against all odds, Amelia reached the safety of the rocky cliffs, her kayak battered but intact. Breathless and humbled, Amelia reflected on the untamed forces that governed the natural world. Isla Serenidad, with its tranquil facade, had revealed a side hidden from casual observers, a reminder that even in paradise, survival demanded respect for the delicate balance between humans and the wild. Over time, Amelia's physical injuries healed, leaving behind only faint scars as reminders of the struggle. Emotionally, the impact lingered, and the memory of the encounter became a part of her story. She was grateful for her survival, treated her injuries with a mix of traditional remedies and practical care. Amelia, now a living connection to the shark's realm, found herself drawn back to Isla Serenidad, not seeking adventure but respecting the island's spirit. The moonlight cast its ethereal glow on the undisturbed lagoon, shrouded in mystery and wonder. Amelia's harrowing encounter became a tale etched in the annals of the island's history, a cautionary saga for those who dared to challenge the waters. Amelia stood on the rocky precipice in the aftermath of the harrowing encounter, the echoes of the primal struggle still reverberating in the air. As she caught her breath, Amelia couldn't shake the feeling that she had glimpsed into a realm where the boundaries between the civilized world and the wilderness blurred. The shark's presence now dissipated into the ocean's depths, leaving behind a heavy silence in the night air. Amelia, battered yet alive, surveyed the undisturbed lagoon below. The tranquil waters, which had once promised a leisurely paddle, now held the memory of an epic struggle between humanity and the forces of nature. Descending the rocky cliffs, Amelia returned to the kayak, which bore the scars of the encounter, scratches and bite marks etched into its surface. As she paddled back to the island's shore, the lagoon mirrored the serenity of a world that had witnessed a confrontation between two realms. Isla Serenidad, in its beauty, seemed to hold the wonders of countless tales, each etched into the fabric of the island's existence. Amelia's journey didn't end with the rocky shores. The islanders, grateful for her survival and touched by the intertwining of her destiny with that of the shark, shared stories of Isla Serenidad's past. They spoke of how the island had long been a sanctuary for its residents, and the feral creatures that found refuge in its untouched beauty. Months passed, and Isla Serenidad became a place where tales of resilience and respect for the wild echoed through time. Amelia, having become part of the island's lore, couldn't escape the encounter's profound impact on her. She found herself drawn back to Isla Serenidad, not as a tourist seeking adventure but as a custodian of the island's realm. With its lush jungles and pristine lagoons, the island continued to weave its magic. And so the story was etched in the rocks and waves, a narrative that resonated with every ripple in the tranquil waters of Isla Serenidad. Its beauty endured, transcending time and becoming a memorable part of the island's legacy. May 15, 2001 marked a day that would forever change the life of Finn Harlow, a young surfer with an insatiable thirst for adventure and a love for the solitary waves of Australia's hidden gem, Driftwood Beach. Located off the beaten path along the northern shores of New South Wales, Driftwood Beach was a secret known only to a select few, where Australia's wild beauty was preserved and revered. Its isolation made it the perfect escape for those like Finn, who sought the purity of surfing without the crowds. Finn's morning began before the sun kissed the horizon, his alarm clock unnecessary as his internal clock was finely tuned to the ocean's schedule. He loaded his old van with the essentials, his surfboard, a worn-out wetsuit, and the eagerness of a soul destined to chase the waves. The drive to Driftwood Beach was a ritual, the winding roads a prelude to the awaited serenity. Upon arrival, the beach greeted him with its usual quiet splendor, the sounds of the waves a soothing welcome. The beach's name, Driftwood Beach, came from the countless pieces of wood that journeyed from distant forests to rest upon its shores. Each piece was a story, and a journey ended. Like many before, Finn was the lone figure against the vast open sea this morning, a testament to his dedication and passion for surfing. The local fauna, a mix of curious dolphins and the occasional sea turtle, were the usual spectators to his morning ritual. Sharks, too, were part of Driftwood's natural tapestry, apex predators that commanded respect and caution. Finn, well versed in the behaviors of these majestic creatures, surfed with a mindfulness that acknowledged their presence without fear. He understood the ocean was their domain, and he was but a visitor, granted access through mutual respect born of understanding and admiration. As Finn suited up and made his way to the water's edge, the first light of dawn cast a golden hue over the sea, the waves whispering invitations to dance. Paddling out, he felt the familiar rush of anticipation, the cool water enveloping him, erasing any remnants of sleep or lingering dreams. Today, the ocean was generous, offering wave after wave, each ride a blend of adrenaline and bliss, a perfect harmony between surfer and sea. But as the morning wore on, a subtle shift occurred. The wind changed direction, bringing with it a chill that hinted at the unseen forces at play within the depths of Driftwood Beach. Finn, attuned to the moods of the ocean, sensed the change. The waves grew erratic, their patterns a puzzle that beckoned understanding. Finn embraced the challenge, undeterred, adapting his style to match the ocean's new rhythm. It was a dance of respect, a give and take that only those who knew the sea could navigate. His last ride before the incident was a testament to his skill and connection to the water, a perfect ride that ended with him back at the shore, exhilarated and unknowingly on the precipice of a life-changing encounter. As Finn sat on his board, catching his breath and watching the horizon, he reflected on the morning's journey. The solitude of Driftwood Beach, the exhilarating challenge of its waves, and the presence of its wildlife combined to create a moment of pure contentment, a reminder of why he was drawn to this remote corner of the world. Yet as the ocean's mood shifted further, heralding the approach of something unseen, Finn remained in the water, unaware that his love for the surf would be tested in a way he had never imagined. The tranquility of the morning was shattered in an instant. As Finn Harlow sat on his board, legs dangling in the cool water, a shadow loomed beneath him, swift and silent. Before he could react, the water erupted into chaos. The shark, a massive creature of muscle and instinct, struck with terrifying precision. Its target was clear, the unsuspecting surfer who had ventured into its path. Finn Harlow found himself in a fight for his life. The shark hit hard and fast, its body a shadow that became a terror in seconds. Finn, thrown into a sudden battle, relied on instinct. He punched, aiming for the shark's sensitive nose, and kicked, trying to make himself less of an easy target. The water around him churned with the struggle, a mix of fear, determination, and the will to survive. The shark, deterred by Finn's defense, circled back, eyeing him coldly. Realizing his punches were only a temporary fix, Finn made a split-second decision. He climbed back onto his board, paddling with all his strength, heading for the shore as fast as he could. The shore was his safety, the distance between him and the shark a rapidly closing gap. Finn's hopes lifted as he neared the beach when he saw figures moving along the shore. The locals, who had spotted the unusual commotion in the water, rushed towards the sea, ready to help. Among them were Jack, a seasoned fisherman, and Mia, a lifeguard off duty but never off guard. They grabbed spare surfboards, paddling out to meet Finn halfway, their actions swift and coordinated. The shark, perhaps sensing the increased opposition, hesitated. This moment of uncertainty allowed Finn and his unexpected rescuers to return to the beach, where more hands helped drag him out of the water and onto the sand. Finn's leg was severely injured, the marks of the shark's teeth deep and bleeding. Jack used his shirt to stem the bleeding, applying pressure with a steadiness that belied his racing heart. With her first aid training, Mia took over, bandaging the wound with a makeshift tourniquet from their limited supplies. The beach, once a place of solitude for Finn, became a scene of collective action. With no hesitation, the locals used their phones to call for emergency services, knowing that every second counted. While waiting for help, they kept Finn awake and talking, their words a mix of encouragement and bravery. The ambulance arrived, tearing through the quiet of Driftwood Beach with an urgency that matched the situation. The ride to the hospital was a blur of lights and sounds, but Finn's thoughts were clear. Thanks to his quick thinking and the courage of a few locals who had rushed into danger without a second thought, he survived. His recovery was slow, marked by moments of frustration and triumph. The beach no longer felt like just a place to surf. It reminded him of the day he had faced his deepest fears and come out alive, supported by the unexpected bravery of those around him. Finn knew he would return to the ocean, but with a new respect for its power and a deep gratitude for the community that had stood by him. The experience had bound him to Driftwood Beach and its people in ways he had never imagined, a testament to the unpredictable journey of life and the strength found in unity. Nestled off the northeastern coast of Australia, the Kawari Shoal stood as a living testament to the marvels of the underwater world. Stretching over 2,000 kilometers, it was a sprawling, intricate ecosystem of sandbanks teeming with abundant marine life. Divers around the globe were drawn to its azure waters, each year converging upon this natural wonder during the peak of the Australian winter, seeking an adventure that promised unparalleled beauty and excitement. The Kawari Shoal's allure lay in its kaleidoscope of vibrant coral formations. Beneath the surface, intricate gardens of coral painted a mesmerizing tapestry, and the crystal-clear waters hosted an array of marine creatures, from the elusive sea turtles to the dazzling schools of fish that glided through the currents. It was a paradise for divers, where the ordinary transcended into the extraordinary. In July 1984, when the Australian winter reached its zenith, 3 seasoned divers embarked on an expedition to explore this underwater realm. Their hearts were driven by a shared passion for the ocean's mysteries and an unquenchable thirst for adventure. Among the divers were Sarah Reynolds, a marine student with a penchant for unraveling the secrets of the deep; Mark Turner, a thrill-seeker with a vast collection of underwater photography; and James Mitchell, a retired Navy diver with a steely resolve forged through years of training and discipline. As they descended into the depths of the Great Barrier Reef, anticipation coursed through their veins. The water was alive with a vibrant display of color and movement, and they marveled at the surreal beauty surrounding them. The trio moved gracefully through the underwater world, their buoyancy, control, and respect for the delicate ecosystem evident in every stroke. However, the tranquil ambiance soon gave way to a sense of unease. The water had grown colder, and an eerie hush settled over the reef. Sarah's gaze was drawn to the shadows lurking in the distance. Her trained eye recognized them instantly: 2 massive great white sharks. The sleek and powerful predators patrolled the reef with an air of authority. Sarah, Mark, and James exchanged glances, their unspoken communication revealing a shared understanding of the danger they now faced. The sharks, drawn by the abundance of marine life, had ventured closer to the reef than expected, their presence casting an ominous pall over the once idyllic scene. They signaled to each other to maintain their composure and slowly ascend to a shallower depth. In the ocean's vastness, they were mere guests, and their survival depended on their ability to navigate this unpredictable encounter. Heartbeats echoed in their ears as they continued to monitor the sharks, their movements tense yet purposeful. But the Australian waters, unpredictable and untamed, had other plans. A sudden surge in the current sent shockwaves through the reef, unsettling the delicate balance of life below. The sharks, agitated by the disturbance, veered closer to the divers, their predatory instincts taking over. Panic surged within the trio as they attempted to retreat, but it was too late. One of the great whites lunged in a flash of raw power and primal instinct, its jaws clamping down on James Mitchell's head. The water turned crimson as chaos erupted in the depths. Sarah and Mark desperately fought to free their comrade from the predator's grip, but the great white's relentless hold was unyielding. James, a stoic figure of strength, grimaced in pain as the shark's teeth pierced the upper part of the face. His half-head was inside the shark's mouth, a deadly attack by a great white. In the desperate struggle that unfolded, James knew he had little chance of survival, but his friends could. With a final, haunting look at his comrades, he pushed them away, sparing them from the jaws of impending doom. As a great white dragged him into the abyss, the last they saw of him was his outstretched hand, a silent testament to his unwavering courage. The water was getting red, and the sharks disappeared into the ocean's darkness with the prey in its mouth. Sarah and Mark swam for their lives, the memory of their friend's sacrifice etched into their souls. Once a sanctuary of beauty, the reef had become a harrowing labyrinth of danger. Their desperate bid for survival tested every ounce of their strength and determination. Several minutes passed before they resurfaced, their bodies battered and their hearts heavy with grief. The Kawari Shoal, once a symbol of wonder and allure, now held a tragic secret. a tale of survival and sacrifice that would forever haunt their dreams. In the wake of that fateful encounter, the divers returned to the surface world, forever changed by the events that had transpired beneath the waves. The Kawari Shoal, with its enchanting beauty and hidden dangers, had taught them a lesson in humility, reminding them that humans were fleeting visitors in the ocean's vastness, subject to the whims of nature's most formidable predators. On the serene shores of Coral Cove, a hidden gem nestled on the eastern coast of Australia, the early morning sun casts a golden glow over the tranquil waters. It was August 20th, 2012, a day that Emma Thornton, a seasoned kayaker with a passion for the unspoiled beauty of nature, had set aside for an adventure that was meant to be a peaceful exploration of the coastal mangrove forests. Coral Cove was renowned for its dense mangrove forests, a vital ecosystem supporting diverse marine life. The area was a haven for environmentalists and nature enthusiasts alike, drawn by the allure of its pristine condition and the promise of witnessing nature in its most unadulterated form. Emma, a 32-year-old environmental scientist from Brisbane, had always been fascinated by the symbiotic relationships within these mangroves. For the day, she planned to document the various species of flora and fauna as part of her ongoing research on coastal ecosystems. She was equipped with her kayak, camera, and notebooks, ready for a day of solitude and discovery. The waters around Coral Cove were known to be home to various marine animals, including the majestic but often misunderstood sharks. Local conservation efforts focused on educating the public about the importance of sharks to the aquatic ecosystem, dispelling myths, and fostering a culture of respect and coexistence. As Emma paddled her kayak through the narrow channels carved by the mangroves, the forest sounds came alive. The chirping of birds and the gentle splash of water against her kayak were the only noises that disturbed the peaceful silence. She was in her element, wholly absorbed in the beauty of her surroundings, her heart full of joy and appreciation for the natural world. As the day progressed, Emma navigated the mangroves with ease, her experience evident in the confident strokes of her paddle. She made several stops along the way, captivated by the sight of colorful birds and the occasional fish jumping out of the water. Her camera clicked away, capturing moments she knew would be treasured memories of her solo journey. However, as the afternoon sun descended, casting long shadows over the water, Emma's peaceful exploration took an unexpected turn. A sudden bump against her kayak startled her, reminding her she was not alone in these waters. Initially dismissing it as a piece of drifting wood or perhaps a curious turtle, she continued, unaware of the danger that lurked beneath. The serenity of Coral Cove's mangrove channels was abruptly shattered when Emma felt a jolt more vital than before, this time unmistakably forceful, shaking her kayak with a violence that sent a ripple of fear through her heart. A shadow beneath the water, vast and swift, collided with her vessel, tipping it precariously. In a heart-stopping moment, her arm plunged into the cool water and she felt an excruciating pain as sharp as the fear gripping her. It was a shark, maybe mistaking the kayak's silhouette for prey due to its instinctual curiosity. With adrenaline surging through her veins, Emma fought to right her kayak, her thoughts a whirlwind of panic and determination. After its investigative bite, the shark seemed to lose interest, disappearing into the murky depths from which it came. But the damage was done. Emma's arm bore the terrifying mark of the encounter, a stark reminder of her vulnerability in the vast, untamed ocean. Bleeding and in pain, Emma's survival instincts kicked in. She managed to climb back onto her kayak, her training as an environmental scientist providing her with the knowledge that calm and quick thinking was her only way out. With one arm severely injured, she paddled with all her remaining strength towards the shore, each stroke a testament to her resolve to survive. The journey back was a blur of pain and perseverance. Emma's mind raced with thoughts of her loved ones, her passion for nature, and all the reasons she had to live. The once enchanting mangroves now seemed like silent witnesses to her struggle, the shadows of the trees stretching out as if to offer her solace and protection. Upon reaching the shore, Emma's cries for help were met by the swift response of nearby beachgoers and the park's rangers, who rushed to her aid. The community of Coral Cove, bound by their respect for the ocean and its creatures, came together to support one of their own in her moment of need. The following weeks were a testament to Emma's strength and the community's solidarity. Her recovery was slow but steady, supported by the expertise of medical professionals and the unwavering support of her family and friends. The shark's bite, while physically damaging, could not dampen Emma's spirit or her love for the marine world she had dedicated her life to protecting. Emma's story spread through Coral Cove and beyond, becoming a powerful narrative of human resilience and the complex relationship between humans and nature. Her return to the water was a poignant moment, not just for Emma but for the entire community. Armed with a deeper understanding and a reinforced respect for the ocean's inhabitants, she embarked on her kayak again, her gaze steady on the horizon. Emma Thornton's journey from a serene day in the mangroves to a life-changing encounter with a shark and back to the water she loves is a powerful reminder of the fragility of life, the strength of the human spirit, and the enduring bond between humanity and the natural world. Ultimately, her story is one of triumph, not tragedy, a narrative of overcoming fear, embracing understanding, and living to make a difference in the world. Not long ago, Lucy Hart loved taking pictures underwater. Lucy was an underwater photographer. She used a special camera to take photos of fish, corals, and sea creatures. Lucy had traveled to many places with her camera, but there was one photo she dreamed of taking more than any other. She wanted to capture a picture of the mako shark, a fast and beautiful shark that was hard to find. Lucy heard about Guadalupe Island in Mexico, known for its clear blue water and fantastic sea life. It was also a place where the elusive mako shark was sometimes seen. So, Lucy packed her camera and gear, ready for an adventure. She hoped to take the photo she had always dreamed of, one that would show the beauty of the mako shark to the world. When Lucy arrived at Guadalupe Island, she was amazed. The water was more precise than any she had seen, and the colors of the fish and corals took her breath away. She couldn't wait to dive in and start taking pictures. Lucy wore her diving suit the following day, checked her camera, and jumped into the water. The sea welcomed her like an old friend, its calm waves hugging her warmly. She swam around taking pictures of the colorful fish that danced around her and the corals that looked like gardens under the sea. As she explored, Lucy found a secluded reef that was even more beautiful than the rest. It was full of life, with creatures she had never seen before. Excited, she took photo after photo, hoping one of them would be the dream shot she had come for. She focused her camera on a gorgeous coral and felt something watching her. A chill ran down her spine and she slowly turned around. In the blue distance was the mako shark she had been dreaming of. It was even more magnificent than she had imagined, its body sleek and powerful as it moved through the water. Lucy's heart raced with excitement and a little bit of fear. She knew mako sharks were fast and could be curious about divers, but this was the moment she had been waiting for. She raised her camera, her hand steady despite her racing heart, and waited for the perfect shot. The mako shark came closer, its eyes on Lucy. It seemed curious about the camera, its sleek body gliding effortlessly through the water. Lucy took a deep breath and snapped the photo, capturing the mako shark's beauty. But then the shark didn't swim away. It kept circling Lucy, coming closer with each pass. Lucy remembered everything she knew about sharks. She knew she needed to stay calm and not make sudden movements that could scare or provoke the shark. As the mako shark circled her, Lucy wondered what she should do. She had her dream shot, but now she needed to ensure she could return to the boat safely. The shark seemed more curious than aggressive, but she knew respecting the powerful creature sharing the water with her was vital. Lucy Hart faced the mako shark with a mix of awe and concern. With its sleek body and curious eyes, the shark circled her. Lucy knew she had to keep her calm. Sharks, she remembered, could sense fear and panic in the water. Holding her camera close, Lucy decided to use what she knew about the sea. Instead of trying to swim away quickly, which might make the shark think she was a fish trying to escape, she floated calmly, making slow and deliberate movements. She wanted to show the shark she wasn't a threat or prey. After a few more circles, the mako shark seemed to understand Lucy wasn't food. With a graceful turn, it stopped coming closer and started to swim away. But then it did something unexpected. The shark slowed down, almost as if giving Lucy one last look. Lucy took this chance to take another photo, capturing the moment of peaceful coexistence between humans and sharks. Lucy felt a rush of gratitude and respect as the mako shark disappeared into the blue. She had come seeking a photo, but was leaving with a profound experience. She understood now more than ever how important it was to respect these creatures and their home in the ocean. Swimming back to the surface, Lucy was excited to share her story and photographs. When she returned to the boat, she showed everyone her pictures. The photo of the mako shark was stunning. Still, her story of respect and understanding genuinely captivated her audience. Lucy's adventure became more than just a quest for a photograph. It turned into a lesson about the beauty and complexity of marine life. Her story spread, inspiring others to see sharks not as monsters of the deep, but as an essential part of the ocean's ecosystem. The impact of Lucy's experience went beyond her photographs. She began to work on projects to protect sharks and their habitats using her images and story to teach people about the importance of conservation. Lucy became known as an underwater photographer and an advocate for the sea and its inhabitants. Years later, Lucy would reflect on her encounter with the mako shark as a turning point. It taught her about bravery, respect, and the delicate balance of life under the sea. Her photographs, especially the one of the mako shark, hung on her wall as a reminder of the day she met one of the ocean's most misunderstood creatures and learned to see the world through a lens of respect and wonder. And so, Lucy Hart's story of her encounter with a mako shark in the waters of Guadalupe Island became a beacon of inspiration. It showed that with understanding and respect, we could find harmony with the natural world, even in its most thrilling and unexpected moments. In a lively beach town named Recife in Brazil, known for its bright lights and fun parties at night, there lived a young man named Lucas. Lucas loved the ocean. He loved it so much that he often went for swims under the moon's glow after the sun went down. One evening, despite many people telling him it wasn't safe, Lucas decided to go for a swim. He told them the ocean was his friend, not heeding their warnings about sharks, especially at night. People in Recife knew sharks came closer to the shore when it was dark, but Lucas felt fearless. He laughed off their concerns, put on his swim shorts, and headed to the beach. The moon was bright, and the water looked inviting. Lucas dove into the sea, feeling the calm waves welcome him. He swam further out, leaving the safety of the shore behind. Back on the beach, the locals shook their heads. They knew the sea held mysteries and dangers after dark. They had seen bull sharks, big and powerful, in the water before. These sharks were nocturnal hunters, looking for food at night. But, feeling adventurous, Lucas didn't think he would ever meet one. As Lucas swam, enjoying the peace of the ocean at night, he didn't see the shadow moving beneath him. A giant bull shark, curious about the splashing above, decided to investigate. It moved silently, blending with the dark sea. Meanwhile, on the shore, a couple of Lucas's friends started to worry. They knew he was brave, but also knew the stories of the sea. They decided to keep a lookout, hoping to see Lucas return safely. Lucas, far from the beach now, started feeling something different. The water felt colder, and he suddenly realized he was not alone. He remembered the warnings about swimming at night and wished he had listened. Feeling a rush of fear, he started to swim back to the shore, hoping he was just imagining things. But the bull shark was curious and began to circle closer to Lucas. It was a majestic creature, solid and silent in its element. Lucas could now see its silhouette in the moonlight reflecting off the water. His heart raced, not knowing what to do. He remembered reading somewhere that if you encounter a shark, you should stay calm and not splash too much. Panic would only attract it more. So Lucas tried to keep his movements smooth and steady, hoping the shark would lose interest. On the beach, his friends grew more anxious. They called out for Lucas, their voices carrying over the waves, hoping he would hear them and swim faster. Lucas swam with all his might, trying to stay calm as the giant bull shark circled closer. The moonlight made the sea glow, revealing the shark's outline as it moved through the water. Lucas could see its big eyes and powerful body. He knew he had to be competent to return to the beach safely. The shark came closer, curious about Lucas. It was not often that it found humans in the water at night. Lucas remembered that making sudden moves could make the shark think he was prey. So he tried to swim steadily, keeping his eyes on the shark. Then, without warning, the shark darted forward. Lucas felt a tug at his leg. It was quick like a pinch, but it scared him. He kicked hard, trying to show the shark he was a challenging target. The shark, maybe surprised by Lucas's reaction, backed away but kept circling. Lucas's heart was pounding. He had a few scratches on his leg where the shark had bumped into him. They were not deep, but they stung in the salty water. He knew he had to get out of the water fast. His friends started calling for help on the beach, knowing Lucas was in trouble. They shone flashlights over the water, trying to spot him. The light from the flashlights reached Lucas, giving him hope. He used all his strength to swim towards the light, towards safety. The shark, distracted by the lights and the commotion from the beach, decided to swim away into the more bottomless sea. Lucas saw the shark's silhouette disappear into the darkness. He felt relief and fear, knowing how close he had come to real danger. Finally, Lucas reached the shallow water. His friends ran into the waves, grabbing and pulling him to the beach. They wrapped him in towels, checking his leg for injuries. The scratches were shallow, but it was a reminder of how dangerous the ocean could be at night. The next day, Lucas's adventure was the talk of the town. Everyone was relieved he was safe, but they also reminded each other of the importance of respecting the ocean, especially at night. Lucas listened to their stories and advice, thankful for his second chance. Lucas learned a valuable lesson that night. He realized how important it was to listen to local warnings and respect the sea and its creatures. He promised himself and his friends that he would never take such a risk again. The community came together to review safety measures for night swimming and educate everyone about sharks' dangers. Lucas's story was a powerful reminder of the balance between humans and nature. Lucas healed quickly, and the scratches on his legs symbolized his respect for the ocean. He still loved the sea, but now he knew to enjoy it safely, with respect for its power and the creatures that call it home. And so Lucas's encounter with the bull shark became a tale of adventure, respect, and learning. It reminded everyone in Recife of the beauty and danger of the sea, teaching them always to heed the wisdom of those who knew it best. A man named Alex Johnson lived in a place called Gansbaai in South Africa, known for its beautiful ocean and full of great white sharks. Alex loved adventures and always wanted to try new and exciting things. One day he decided to do something audacious. He wanted to go shark cage diving. He would go into the ocean in a special cage to see the great white sharks up close. Alex had heard stories of how thrilling it was to see these magnificent creatures right before his eyes. He wasn't scared. He felt excited and couldn't wait to dive. So he booked his trip, put on his wetsuit, and joined the crew on a boat that took him far into the sea, where the sharks lived. The boat stopped in a place where the water was deep and clear. You could see down into the water for a long way. The crew got the cage ready. It was big and made of solid metal bars to protect the divers from the sharks. Alex put on his diving mask and climbed down into the cage. His heart beat excitedly as he thought about coming face to face with a shark. At first, he could only see blue water and small fish swimming by. Then, the crew on the boat threw some food into the water to attract the sharks. Alex waited, looking all around. Suddenly, he saw a shadow in the distance. It got bigger until he saw it was a great white shark. It was huge, with big, sharp teeth, and moved through the water smoothly and quickly. Alex couldn't believe his eyes. He was so close to a great white shark. He felt excitement and fear, but he was safe inside the cage, or so he thought. As the shark circled closer, something went wrong. The cage door, which was supposed to stay locked, suddenly swung open. Alex stared at it in shock. The only thing that kept him safe from the sharks was now available. He knew he had to stay calm. He grabbed onto the bars of the cage and pulled himself away from the open door. Outside, the great white shark circled, coming closer to the cage. Alex's heart raced. He had to stay inside the cage and wait for help. Up on the boat, the crew had seen what happened. They started shouting and working quickly to fix the problem. One of them grabbed a long pole and tried to reach the cage to close the door, but it was complicated with the boat moving in the waves and the shark so close. Alex watched the shark and the open door. He knew he had to be very brave. He couldn't let himself be scared of the shark. He thought about all the adventures he had been on and how he had always found a way to be safe. This time was no different. He just had to wait and trust the crew to help him. The crew worked very hard. They knew they had to act fast to keep Alex safe. The shark moved around the cage, looking at Alex and the open door. It was tense, with everyone hoping the door could be closed quickly. Alex Turner clung to the bars of the cage, his eyes locked on the great white shark circling nearby. The crew above worked frantically to fix the door, but the waves made reaching Alex safely hard. Alex knew he couldn't panic. He remembered stories of the ocean he'd heard as a boy, tales of sailors and divers who faced the sea's dangers with courage. Drawing on that courage now, Alex held tightly to the cage, making himself as small as possible, trying not to attract the shark's attention. The sharks, curious about the cage and the splashes from above, came closer. Alex could see their massive bodies, the scars on their skin telling stories of their lives in the ocean. But he also saw their eyes, not just mindless predators but living creatures, part of the sea's vast world. Up on the boat, the crew had a plan. They tied a solid rope to a heavy metal tool and carefully lowered it to Alex. He reached out, his fingers wrapping around the cold metal. With a deep breath, he used all his strength to pull the door shut, the tool fitting perfectly into a latch to lock it. Just as the door clicked shut, the giant shark made one more slow circle around the cage. Then, with a flick of its tail, the shark swam off into the deep, followed by the others. The crew pulled Alex to the boat's safety, cheering and clapping him. Alex stepped onto the deck, his legs shaky, but his heart full of a new respect for the ocean and its creatures. He had gone seeking thrills, but found so much more, a deep connection to the wild, beautiful life beneath the waves. After the incident, the diving company reviewed all its safety protocols. They ensured every cage was checked and double-checked before entering the water. Alex's story spread, reminding everyone who heard it about respecting the ocean and its inhabitants. Alex continued to seek adventures, but he never forgot his encounter with the great white sharks of Gansby. He told his story to anyone who would listen, sharing the message of respect for nature's power and beauty. And sometimes when the sea called to him in his dreams, he would find himself back in the cage, the sharks circling, their eyes telling him the secrets of the deep blue sea. And so, Alex Turner's adventure with the sharks became a tale of courage, respect, and the bond between humans and the natural world. It was a reminder that moments of profound connection are waiting to be discovered in the heart of the wildest encounters. Roger and Camilla were huddled together in the living room of their quaint coastal house, which had just a solitary oil lamp for illumination. The light from the lamp produced flickering shadows on the couple's features. Even though the windows were open, the chilly night air could be felt coming in, yet the coziness of their collective joy kept them comfortable. It was the summer of 1993, and the seaside community of Crescent Bay, located in a beautiful part of the coast of California, was bustling with the arrival of tourists looking to experience the excitement of the ocean. Roger Masters, a rough marine researcher with a salt and pepper beard, and Camilla Foster, a lively underwater photographer with blazing red hair, were no exception to this rule. The fact that they both had a passion for the sea was what initially brought them together, and their most recent endeavor promised to be an experience unlike any other. Roger and Camilla put the finishing touches on their strategy when the clock struck midnight. The great white shark was a species that had long caught the imaginations of thrill seekers and scientists. The following day, they would plunge into the profound waters of the Pacific Ocean to capture this elusive and gorgeous creature. They set out intending to document the lives of these top predators in a way that had never been done before, armed with cameras and a cage created specifically for them. The town of Crescent Bay has a long and illustrious history, dating back to the early 20th century when it served as a central location for fishing and commerce. Over the course of many years, visitors had been told monster man-eating sharks that lurked in the depths of the ocean, and divers who had vanished without a trace feared to have fallen victim to the sharks. Roger and Camilla were aware of these tales but disregarded them as just stories since they had never heard of them. Despite this, their cynicism was about to be validated in a short amount of time. While Roger and Camilla were on their way to the Crescent Bay Marina, the early morning sun decorated the sky with an array of brilliant colors. They were welcomed by the lively sights and sounds of a fishing town getting ready for another day of labor. During the time that the adventurers were getting their supplies and boat ready, The locals couldn't help but regale them with cases of terrifying run-ins they'd had with the species of the water. They were approached by a grizzled old fisherman named Tom, whose worn face was furrowed with concern. He groaned to them as he strained his eyes to look at their yacht. Roger chuckled, and the twinkle returned to his sea-weary eyes. They told the fishermen that their motive was to photograph and conduct research on great white sharks while they were there. It was where their hearts lay. Tom's expression became gloomier, warning everyone to watch their steps out there. He told them there was more going on there than first appeared to be the case. He claimed something large and dangerous was lurking down there, something in the area long before they arrived. Camilla arched her brow, thoughtfully asking Tom if sharks do eat people. Tom gave a sad nod in response, claiming that Moreso, a sizable man-eating shark, was responsible for more deaths than anyone would acknowledge. He told them to be on their guard, calling them younglings. The warning lingered while Roger and Camilla were putting their boat into the sea. Despite Tom's unnerving story, they were resolute in their pursuit to learn the wonders of the ocean depths. They left the protected confines of the harbor and headed into the open sea, taking their diving gear and setting up the cage first. Roger and Camilla were shocked by the immensity of the Pacific Ocean as they sat in their boat and watched the waves roll in and out. It was a bright and sunny day, and the sun's rays created shimmering patterns on the water's surface. However, they knew that the water held unfathomable wonders beneath the placid veneer. After what seemed like an eternity, they finally arrived at the predetermined location where they anticipated the great white sharks to congregate. As Roger and Camilla put on their armor, the anticipation in each of their hearts made them race. They took their cameras with them as they plunged into the murky depths so that they might capture the wondrous world that was waiting for them there. The waters were icy and pitch black when the first silhouette of a shark was seen gliding by. While underwater, Roger and Camilla exchanged enthusiastic glances through their masks. Their breath was visible in the ocean as it formed bubbles. They were in their element as they repeatedly clicked their cameras to take pictures of the gorgeous creatures they were observing. As the day wore on, the sharks became brazen and began to circle the cage, occasionally coming close enough to touch it. After experiencing some early apprehension, Roger and Camilla came to feel a sense of amazement and kinship with the ocean's top predators. On the other hand, when the sun started its drop toward the horizon, a shiver ran down each of their spines. The behavior of the sharks had changed in a significant way. They did not give off the impression of curiosity. Instead, they appeared anxious and restless. Roger looked at his watch and then motioned to Camilla to let her know it was time to climb. It seemed like it took them far longer to get back to the surface than below. The sharks, who had previously served as subjects for their photographs, gave off an air of being watchful over the depths. It seemed they were being led away from something darker and more menacing than they had previously known. They were exhausted as they scrambled back onto the boat after finally breaking the water's surface. Their joy had turned into worry, and the recollection of Tom's warning lingered thick in the air like a cloud. Roger started the boat's motor to escape the region, but a giant shadow materialized from the sea just as they were about to make their way out of the depths. They had never seen a great white shark quite like this, quickly twice as large as the others. Its eyes were icy and murderous, and when it opened its jaws wide, rows upon rows of razor-sharp fangs were exposed. Within a fraction of a second, the enormous shark lunged for the cage, and the boat was shaken violently by its incredible power. Roger and Camilla stared in shock as the cage was ripped apart, causing their priceless cameras and other equipment to fall into the water below. As the enormous predator continued to circle them, the two divers were forced to cling to the side of the boat because the cage had collapsed. When they finally came to their senses, they were confronted with a terrifying reality. They were stranded in the middle of the ocean with the man-eating shark. Roger and Camilla were overcome with desperation as they searched around for the flare pistol in an attempt to send a signal for aid. However, they knew any assistance would arrive too late to save them. As they watched the enormous shark circle, its menacing eyes were fixated on them, and the minutes seemed like hours to them. As darkness approached, the beast became brazen and made several dangerously close approaches to the boat. Roger and Camilla were the only ones who could see in the pitch black, because the moon was getting dimmer and there were bioluminescent critters in the water. They cuddled close. They tried to hold their fear at bay by assuring one another with soothing words that were only audible to the other. The hours seemed to drag on forever, and eventually the tiredness caught up with them. The chances of Roger and Camilla making it through the night decreased significantly with each passing minute. They were well aware that the odds were stacked against them, and they were completely helpless in the face of the savage beast that prowled these seas. They had just about accepted their lot in life when, all of a sudden, something took place. They were able to hear the low rumbling of motors in the distance, and it was growing increasingly louder with each passing instant. It turned out to be a rescue boat that had responded to their flare. Roger and Camilla hung on, clinging to a rekindled sense of hope despite their diminishing physical capabilities. But they never wavered in their resolve. Just in the nick of time, the rescue squad arrived and used bright lights to drive away the shark in the water. After casting one final unsettling glance in their direction, the enormous shark vanished into the ocean's depths. As Roger and Camilla were being hauled into the rescue vessel, their bodies trembled with a mixture of relief and anxiety. They had only just gotten away from the ocean's most powerful predator in the nick of time. After the event, Roger and Camilla returned to Crescent Bay as local heroes and examples of how not to behave in similar situations. The tale of the man-eating shark and how they survived was passed down from generation to generation, serving as a cautionary tale about the wild and unfathomable depths that lay beyond the coastline. Both Roger and Camilla's lives are irrevocably changed as a result of the event. They continued their efforts to protect marine life, but the memory of that terrible day stayed with them throughout their careers. A brave woman named Anna lived in the sunny and beautiful Exuma, Bahamas, where the ocean sparkles like a treasure chest of gems. Anna had a story unlike any other. Years ago, she had a scary meeting with a shark, an encounter that filled her heart with fear whenever she thought about the sea. But Anna was also fearless. She decided she didn't want to live being scared of the ocean because she loved it too much. So Anna made a big decision. She would learn to scuba dive, to swim beneath the waves where the fish and corals live. She thought that if she could see the underwater world up close, she might not be scared anymore. She wanted to understand the sea, not fear it. Anna joined a scuba diving class. The dive instructor was a kind man named Mr. Carter, who knew the sea like the back of his hand. He had a calm and gentle way of teaching, perfect for someone like Anna who was trying to find her courage again. Mr. Carter and the other divers were all very supportive. They knew Anna was unique and that she was on a journey to learn about scuba diving and heal her heart. Together they practiced in shallow water first, learning to breathe with the scuba gear and move under the water. Anna felt a mix of excitement and nervousness, but with each dive, she felt more and more at home in the water. She loved seeing the colorful fish, the waving corals, and the sunlight dancing through the water. It was a world so peaceful and beautiful that it made her wonder why she had been scared. Then came the day of Anna's certification dive, proving she had learned all she needed to be a real scuba diver. They took a boat into the clear blue sea, far from the shore. Anna's heart was beating fast, but she was also excited. She put on her diving gear, took a deep breath of the ocean air, and jumped it in. Under the water, Anna followed Mr. Carter and the group as they explored. The underwater world was even more beautiful here, with giant corals and schools of fish in every color you could imagine. Anna felt a peace she hadn't felt in a long time. Suddenly, Mr. Carter pointed to something in the distance. It was a shark, but not the kind Anna had met before. This one was a nurse shark, known for being gentle and calm. It lay on the ocean floor, its eyes watching them curiously. Anna's first instinct was to be scared, but then she remembered what Mr. Carter had taught her. She breathed deeply through her scuba gear and swam a little closer. The nurse shark didn't move, it looked peaceful and unafraid of her. At that moment, something changed in Anna. She saw the shark not as a scary monster, but as a beautiful part of the ocean. She realized that the sea was full of life, not dangers, and that every creature had its place. Anna swam back to the group, a big smile on her face. She had faced her fear and felt like she had won a big battle. The rest of the dive was excellent, and when they finally surfaced, Anna felt like a new person. As Anna emerged from the water, her heart was lighter than it had been in years. The encounter with the nurse shark during her certification dive in the Exuma, Bahamas, wasn't just a step in her scuba diving journey, but a leap towards healing. With Mr. Carter's and fellow divers' support, Anna faced her fears and embraced the beauty and tranquility of the underwater world she once feared. Back on the boat, Anna shared her experience with everyone. Mr. Carter smiled, proud of her bravery. He remarked that the ocean has a way of teaching about courage, respect, and harmony. Anna nodded, feeling a deep connection to his words. She realized that her fear of sharks had been replaced with profound respect and a desire to protect these misunderstood creatures. Inspired by her journey, Anna became an advocate for shark conservation. She wanted others to see sharks not as monsters of the deep, but as essential parts of the ocean's ecosystem. She shared her story far and wide, discussing protecting marine life and preserving their habitats. Anna's encounter with the nurse shark became a powerful message of overcoming fear through understanding and respect. Anna continued to dive, exploring more of the ocean's wonders, her heart filled with joy and a sense of purpose. Once a place of fear, the sea was now her source of inspiration and strength. She had discovered the beauty of the underwater world. She found her mission in life, to be a voice for the ocean and its inhabitants. And so, Anna's story became one of transformation, a journey from fear to fascination, from a traumatic encounter to a life dedicated to advocacy and conservation. The ocean had healed her in ways she never imagined. Now she was determined to give back, ensuring its wonders would be cherished and protected for generations.